Good morning, Larimer County, and welcome to our January 16th, 2024 Administrative Matters meeting. It's great to be together with you on this balmy 0-degree morning, and we'll call this meeting to order at 9 a.m., and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you kindly, everyone. Our first item, well, first of all, I should introduce the folks up here. My name is John Kafalis, Larimer County Commissioner residing in District 1. I'm joined by my fellow commissioners, Kristen Stevens from District 2 and Jody Shattuck McNally from District 3. Across the way, we have Heather Arment, is that correct? Heather Arment from the Clerk and Recorder's Office, who records the meeting. It's a public meeting, of course, and also takes the minutes that we review. And we are joined this morning by Lori Kadrich, who is our Assistant County Manager. And then we have two folks from our Commissioner's Office, and we welcome you as well. With the introductions done, we'll now move on to public comment. And again, this is an opportunity for folks to provide input to the commissioners, to the public that is listening. Folks can do it in person or via the phone. Typically, they'll sign up or register the day before by 4:30. It looks like we have two folks signed up who are here in person, and then we'll check to see if anyone has requested to provide input through the telephone. First, we have Cindy Burkhart. Cindy, good morning. Welcome. And if you would identify yourself for the record and any affiliation, and then, of course, you have about 3 minutes.
I would like to address the minutes from last week's meeting that you are about to approve. First, I apologize for not spelling my name. It's Buckhart, so it's Cindy Buckhart, Buckart, and I'm the president of the Larimer County 4-H Foundation. Second, I would like to address my comments, some of which were left out of the minutes. For the past 3 years, we have had a letter from Nicole Aguilar of the Larimer County Health Department stating that the Larimer County 4-H Foundation's bake sale is within the County Health Department's guidelines and perfectly acceptable to happen. During the COVID concerns, you, the county commissioners, followed the directions of the health department. And now, with a letter stating acceptance from the health department, you are choosing not to follow their recommendations. On November 1st, 2021, an email went to Larimer County Foundation, and you were all copied. And I quote, "The ranch and county want to be good partners with Extension and the 4-H community. The mission to serve the community and the kids was an overwhelming factor in the decision. So what has happened to wanting to serve the community and the kids and being good partners? How is it that the Larimer County Fair allows baked goods from the general public, and those baked goods are sampled by judges and then sold at a bake sale? And yet the 4-H community can't sell baked goods at a carnival? Where is the equity in this?" Another comment was about packaged foods in the schools. The difference between the schools and the 4-H carnival is choice. In the schools, the food is given to the children. At a bake sale, there is the choice to purchase or not to. Have you looked at the ingredients in prepackaged food items and all of the preservatives? How healthy is this? Are you aware that the CSU Extension Treasury Handbook for 4-H uses bake sales as an example of a fundraiser? Since last week's meeting, I was asked about a compromise. I would like to offer an option that I've read about at other bake sales. When a baked good is brought in for the sale, we would record the maker's name and ask for a list of major allergens that will then be attached to the product. Those who wish to purchase items can make informed decisions about what they are buying. The purpose of 4-H is engaging youth to reach their fullest potential while advancing the field of youth development. The parent organization of 4-H is the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, NIFA. The 4-H slogan, "Learn by Doing." Did you know that the National 4-H Council recently received $9.4 million from the USDA to launch a campaign titled Increasing Food Production and Combating Food Waste and Loss? 4-H was founded with agriculture, food production, and food preparation in mind. To say that it should now abandon those roots to keep up with the times is contrary to its mission. Lastly, I would like to address a concern. I sent an email to the Larimer County 4-H Club organizational leaders. Commissioner Stevens is a club leader. It seems that Commissioner Stevens shared my emails with the ranch director, Mr. Connor McGrath, and in response, he attended the commissioners' meeting last week. As far as I can tell, those emails were also shared with the rest of you, the commissioners. I feel there is a conflict of interest when Commissioner Stevens received correspondence as a 4-H club leader, then acts on it as a commissioner.
Cindy, thank you for your comments. The next person who has signed up, who is here in person, is Lacey Adams. Morning, Lacey. If you could please identify yourself for the record and any affiliation that you might have. And
Hi, I'm Lacey Adams, and I'm here on behalf of the Larimer County 4-H Foundation and the High Country Handiworkers 4-H Club. I'm here regarding the 4-H Carnival. The ranch will not let us have a bake sale / any carnival food at our Larimer County 4-H Carnival, which is the 64th year that we are about to hold. I'm here to tell you that this is the main fundraiser / income that all these clubs in 4-H gets throughout the year. Some of these clubs, this is the only amount of income that they live on throughout our season. And without the bake sales / food, we wouldn't be able to have the amount of people in production that we have in our 4-H community. I would also like to mention that we have all the permission from the health department, and we get the same training that all the concession stands at the ranch do, except they get a little bit more help than we do. I would like to also mention that recently I had visited the ranch for some events, and I had purchased some food from the concession stand. At the concession stand, they checked me out at the register, turned right around with no gloves on or washing their hands, and picked up my hot dog and handed it right to me. I then asked if I could get a refund, and they could wash their hands and put on proper gloves and proper training. I feel as though if we all the 4-H kids have to follow these rules and guidelines that are being put in from the ranch and others, that they should also have to follow those standards as well. I would also like to mention that Connor last year at our carnival was not there and did not attend and did not get to see the production that we all have as a 4-H kid. As a former 4-H'er, this is very frustrating to be able to see the 4-H carnival going downhill because of a certain individual that was told by his staff that everything went smoothly, even though he didn't come. As a 4-H'er, this is very frustrating, and to see this go downhill, I would like to have you guys take this in consideration and help us as much as possible. Thank you for your time.
thank you, Lacey. Thanks for your comments. Sarah, has anyone signed up to offer public comment via the phone?
No, Commissioner.
All right. Then before we close public comment, I would like to extend an invitation. If there are folks assembled here who may not have signed up but still wish to offer public comment, you are more than welcome to do so. Is there anyone in? Good morning, Tasha. Come on up. I know that you know the routine. If you would be kind enough to identify yourself for the record and all of that.
Sure.
Thanks.
Good morning. Tasha Carr from Livermore, Colorado. Good morning, Commissioners. And I want to call out a thank you to Commissioner Kafalis for the community listening conversations. Have been really productive and providing some information about where the massive 25% tax increase was going. Prop HH woke us up to the games that have been played against taxpayers in Colorado. We want honesty about our taxes. Why do we need Tabor? We need Tabor because we want to be asked to raise our taxes 25%, as was just done in Larimer County, instead of 5%. When the county debruced in 1999, Gallagher was in place. That would have kept taxes rising only about 5%. When it was repealed, the rules changed. So we keep hearing as a justification that you can raise our taxes 25% because we debruced. This is not fair. The rules changed, and we should have been asked to raise our taxes 25% in the spirit of Tabor. Furthermore, in 1999, only 48,000 people voted in that election. The Tabor debrucing was passed by 1,200 votes. Today we have about 250,000 registered voters. That's hardly representative of us and the current population. The measly 3% decrease from the 25% proposed potential for a 28% tax increase to 25%, only a 25% tax increase feels like a slap in the face. You threw us a bone, but it wasn't a nice meaty T-bone. It was a tiny little chicken bone, and it's gotten caught in our throats. The average price home in Larimer County over the past 20 years has paid upwards of $50,000 in property taxes. Clearly, we need to rebruce. And if there's a silver lining, is that we have Prop HH and all that's happened since then has woken us up and we're paying attention. The other thing I want to say is we really want honesty. We want honesty in our ballot initiatives and our ballot referendum. We want clear language, not this bait and switch that we've been handed over the years. We need to make it clear to the voters what they're voting on. And I would also ask that you are honest with us. When Commissioner Shattuck McNally has said twice in public meetings, we are not raising your taxes, this is an insult to my intelligence. You are raising our taxes. You're raising our taxes 25%. Don't pass the buck because of debrucing. If you're going to raise our taxes, at least own it. So thank you for your work with us, and we are not going to go away. We're going to pay attention and stay involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Tasha. Thanks for making the trip from Livermore. Is there anyone else in the audience who may not have signed up who wishes to offer public comment? This would be your opportunity. I don't see anyone raising their hand. Therefore, we'll close public comment. And again, thank you to all the folks who are here in person. And we'll make sure to make the corrections regarding the minutes when we get to the approval of the minutes, which happens to be at this time. So I will ask Commissioner Stevens if he would offer the minutes, keeping in mind there was some suggestion on. Oh, actually, I must be suffering from walking here in the sub-zero temperature. We do offer an opportunity for folks, fellow commissioners, if they wish to offer any feedback to what they've heard. So I apologize. Commissioner Stevens, would you like to begin that process? Thank you.
Just want to thank everyone who came out to speak today. With regard to Cindy, I need you to know that I received a very vulgar and threatening and what I consider misogynistic email on the topic of the 4-H bake sale, among other things. So if we're talking about things going downhill, certainly the civility has gone downhill on this topic. And so has the 4-H code of conduct, which I believe has been breached numerous times. So I don't wish to engage on this issue anymore, just to say that I know I don't want Connor McGrath to be vilified in this situation, and also that he has offered numerous times to meet, and I think that that would be the way to reach a compromise on this. But I won't be speaking further on this because of what's happened. Second of all, just thank you to Tasha for coming out, and we are working with state legislators and the task force and trying to keep in touch with what's happening. I totally agree. I think clear language is really important. I think that government gets very much caught up in sort of these are complex issues, the way that things are assessed and the way taxes are, the way that property tax is done in Colorado. But I think as much as possible, we need to use clear language. And I'm glad you found some help from some of the sessions that our Commissioner Cavalis has had. So, just look forward to working with you. Thanks for staying engaged on this issue. I don't think we were, in any way trying to be dishonest. If we were, we were trying to sort of lay out the environment that we're in and trying to be truthful about that, of some of the needs that we have in the community and some of the reasons that we need to have some reserves because of emergency situations and other reasons. But thank you for engaging, and hopefully we can continue engaging, and I appreciate your your advocacy on this topic. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, anything you'd like to comment on?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would. I would also like to address I also received a very foul and violent worded email that I found very offensive and troublesome. I've never had certain words used at me that at frequency. And I think that to me, its close association with the foundation really disheartens me at the lack of decorum and civility as this process has gone forward. I too agree with Commissioner Stevens. This process and having the waiver in this conversation started well before Director Connor McGrath came to Larimer County. This is something that the board and others have known about for at least 2 to 3 years that this was coming, this change. And I also feel that vilifying him is incorrect and wrong, and spreading out misinformation about his actions is not fair or ethical at this point. I think he has reached out multiple times to have a one-on-one conversation, and in light of the emails and some of the lack of decorum, I think it is appropriate that it would be him who is responding in the right conditions. And I think I have been seeing those emails where he's reached out a few times, trying to ask Ms. Burkhart for a meeting to talk about the differences. And so I just want to state that I think he has handled himself with respect and decorum for our public, and I appreciate it. And I will not be responding to any emails with such misogynistic, reprehensible language. And to Tasha, since she's called me out, we're not responsible. I didn't. We're only responsible for 15 to 25% of the tax bill, maybe a little bit more in some areas. We did not raise taxes. We would have to go to the vote of thing of the voters to do that. The property values went up. And when they go up, taxes go up. And we're not the only ones of the other entities. I hope you're saying that to all the other entities. When taxes go down, when home evaluations and home prices go down, taxes go down. And I don't hear people coming and thanking us for lowering taxes when we're not doing that either, because it's about the valuation of properties, and we do not control that. And I stand by that. And I think that we all have had lots of opportunities for meetings, and we've had several budget sessions, and our staff have been available to many folks. And I think we have had a very transparent and accountable process. And I just want to state that clearly. I think that we all have tried to reach out to help. And we have also been participants in uncertain times. We are not responsible for the ballot languages that have been put on the ballot this last year. We tried to have our part as county commissioners through our associations to have input on any of these task force and of that tax initiative. We did not put that on ballot. We were not responsible for wording it. It's nothing that we have control over. We have fought very hard as a collective group of county commissioners to have 5 commissioners sit on that task force, that they are meeting every other Friday for 5 hours a day. They are giving up a lot of their time to represent county commissioner and county's voices, and I appreciate their time. We had to fight very hard in the special session to get those 5 seats so that we could feel like we had a representative voice on that board. And I thank my colleagues for their time and attention to that, because they are giving up a lot of those time, and those are we have a couple of, I think, one representative from Larimer County who was a former commissioner. So I think it's important that we support them as they try to go through this process. And I do appreciate when coming today, giving public comment. But I do think that we have to ask for civility and truthfulness and correct information from everyone, including ourselves. Thank you.
I reckon I should offer my 2 cents on these 2 matters. First of all, on the matter of the issues that Tasha and others have raised, we lowered the mill levy It was 21 from 20. The general fund mill levy is 21.751. We lowered it by 0.6 mils. So I believe that means that we are lowering the mill levy. My understanding of raising taxes is you increase the mill levy. We are not allowed to do that because of Tabor, because of the provisions of the debrucing of the county in 1999. We can temporarily lower it. We cannot raise it without approval of the voters. So I want to state that for the record. The extra money that the county received was for due to a number of factors. Primarily, the assessed value was more than we estimated. In formulating our budget, we considered $8.4 billion overall assessed value, and that came in closer to $8.7 billion. That resulted in an additional $5.4 million in general fund revenue. We received a backfill earlier of approximately $6 million, and between those two dollar amounts, we did lower the mill levy by I believe 0.6 and a couple of other decimal points, resulting in $5.5 million temporary mill levy credit. As I shared with Tasha and others, and that will go out in the press release, of the additional 25%, revenue assessed valuation, 15 million of that is going for existing services, and 75% of that is going for public safety, and child welfare is another part of that. New services account for about 4 million. And what we heard from folks, for example, up in Wellington at our community conversation, I think we've heard it in LaPorte and other places, is that the county should stick to the basics: public safety, child welfare. Those are two fundamental responsibilities, and most of the additional money is going for those purposes, whether it's hiring new deputies, finishing the upgrade of the jail, making sure that we have community corrections in order, and a variety of other things. So those are my comments on the budget. Last thing I'll mention on the budget is I don't think it's helpful if when it's suggested, and maybe that wasn't the intent, that we are being, quote, dishonest. I think we strive to be as honest as humanly possible. We strive to be as transparent and accountable with these budget matters, and I'm glad that folks are engaged. So that's my 2 cents on the budget. Regarding 4-H, first of all, there was not a meeting with the ranch director with the three of us. That would have to be noticed. It's a public meeting. I did speak to the ranch director on Friday, asking if I had received a similar email that, according to the description of that email, was unacceptable. I did not receive that email. Maybe I got lucky, but based on my understanding of the contents of that email, that is really doesn't help the cause. I am glad that I heard the word compromise this morning, and my hope is that somehow we can work together to ensure that the 4-H Carnival, which is a big fundraiser for the foundation, occurs, and that 4-H youth are able to do their bake sale. My understanding is that cannot occur at the ranch, but there are other options. So I think there's more to this 4-H Carnival bake sale matter than meets the eye, and that's all I have to say. Well, that's my 2 cents on that one. So now we can move on to approval of the minutes. We've made reference to a change, I think, regarding spelling and title. I will ask my colleague, Commissioner Stevens, would you be kind enough to offer the motion regarding the minutes, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I move to approve the minutes for the week of January 8th, 2024.
Thank you. That is a proper motion. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 That passes 3-0. We now go on to our review of next week's commissioner's schedule. We always try to have lots of fun with our schedule, and we'll ask Sarah if you would be kind enough to share that with us and everyone assembled and everyone listening.
This is the Commissioner's schedule for January 22nd through the 26th. On Monday, January 22nd, from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Behavioral Health Technical Advisory Committee meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be at the Behavioral Health Services at Longview Campus at 2260 West Trilby Road, or virtually via Zoom. From 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., there will be a work session for a quarterly update on the American Rescue Plan Act in the Commissioners' Conference Room on the second floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources in the Commissioners' Conference Room on the second floor. The 3 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. land use items with the Development Review Team meetings have been canceled. On Tuesday, January 23rd, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be an Administrative Matters meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., there will be administrative direction to county management in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the second floor. On Wednesday, January 24th, from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Shattuck McNally will attend the North Fort Collins Business Association meeting at the Rocky Mountain Innisphere at 320 East Vine Drive in Fort Collins. From 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual Big Thompson Watershed Health Partners meeting. From 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., there will be a Commissioner's casual conversation in the Commissioner's Conference Room on the second floor. From 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., the Commissioners may attend the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be in the Carter Lake Conference Room on the second floor or virtually via Zoom. From 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Fair Board meeting at the McKee 4-H Youth and Community Building at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. On Thursday, January 25th, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioners may attend the Colorado Counties, Inc. Steering Committee meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be at 800 Grant Street, Suite 500 in Denver, or virtually via Zoom. From 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will host a community conversation for the Red Feather Lakes community. Guests will be the Health District of Northern Larimer County, Leanne Jolin, Executive Director, and Dr. Paul Mayer, Medical Director, for a meet and greet and discuss Red Feather Lakes area and rural health care needs. Also, staff from the Larimer County Budget Team, Matthew Bahunin and Alex Jordan, will attend to give a high-level overview of the 2024 county budget and answer questions. This will be held at 58 Firehouse Lane in Red Feather Lakes. From 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the Red Feather Lakes Planning Advisory Committee meeting at 44 Firehouse Lane in Red Feather Lakes. From 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will attend the Regional Opioid Abatement Council meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be in the Boyd Lake Conference Room on the first floor or virtually via Zoom. From 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens will participate in the virtual non-attainment area air pollution mitigation enterprise. From 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Open Lands Advisory Board meeting at the Larimer County Loveland campus at 200 Peridot Avenue in Loveland. On Friday, January 26th, from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m., Commissioners may attend the Colorado Counties, Inc. Legislative Breakfast at the Colorado State Capitol at 200 East Colfax Avenue in Denver. From 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Colorado Department of Human Services Trails Executive Steering Committee meeting. From 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual Forest Health Council legislative meeting. From 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioners may attend the Colorado Counties, Inc. Steering Committee meetings. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be at 800 Grant Street, Suite 500 in Denver, or virtually via Zoom.
Thank you, Sarah. Colleagues, do you have any questions, comments, observations regarding the draft commissioner's schedule for next week? Commissioner Shattuck McNally, anything? Yeah, Kristen or Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. On Thursday, I don't think it was listed. We have the CCAT January all-member meeting. It's a hybrid and in person and Zoom meeting. Wanted to add that. I think it's from 5:30 to 8.
Yeah.
I'll be attending that virtually.
And I also may be attending that, depending on how the day goes.
I may attend in person just because we have the meeting the next morning, so
Ah.
and I might.
Thanks.
And the only adjustment I have, Sarah, is regarding the Behavioral Health Technical Advisory Committee meeting on Monday, January 22nd. I may, excuse me, I may participate in the first hour of that virtually.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe we can now move on to the consent agenda, which I believe is my responsibility to explain and go over. So I think folks know that the consent agenda is typically for administrative matters, things that are more routine. As far as we can tell, there's no controversy, but you never know. Um, and that's basically what the consent agenda is. We will go through it rather quickly. The details are online. A commissioner can pull off one of the consent agenda items to have more discussion, deliberation, but otherwise we just kind of go through things. So, with that in mind, I will begin. And there are, first of all, there are two agreements. Amendment number 3 to agreement for jail services. This is basically an agreement between the commissioners and the city of Loveland. And the term of this agreement is this particular calendar year 2024, beginning January 1st. And basically, it's to provide for bed space for people that go through the municipal courts and are sentenced, jail space at the Larimer County Jail. The dollar amount is approximately $84,000. The second agreement is amendment number 2 to the agreement for jail services. So these are both amendments similar. It's between the County Board of Commissioners and the City of Loveland, and this is allowing for folks through the municipal courts that are sentenced, pre-sentenced offenders from the City of Loveland. And this amendment adds an additional 10 days per month to the agreement. The dollar amount here is about $5,835. Next area on the consent agenda is appointments. Recommended appointment to the Behavioral Health Consumer Advisory Committee, Josh Fuller, to be appointed for a full term on the Consumer Advisory Committee beginning today and ending November 30th, 2026. The next appointment is to the Workforce Development Board, individual named Ridge Overholt, and that is a full-term appointment to the Workforce Development Board starting today through June 30th, 2025. We have one matter related to liquor licensing, liquor license renewal, Boyd Lake Marina, Inc., approval and issuance. The license type is a fermented malt beverage and wine license type. We move on to miscellaneous items, and here we have the first item is Larimer County Department of Natural Resources, Title 29 Regulations 2024 update. We've had various work sessions regarding these proposed changes, updates to the Department of Natural Resources Title 29 regulations effective January 2024 until superseded. And again, the details of all this stuff are online if folks are interested. The next is item number 2, miscellaneous monitoring and permit deviation report. This has to do with our landfill. This is a semi-annual report required by the landfill's air emissions permit, which is a federally enforceable Title V operating permit issued by the CDPHE, which is the Colorado Department of Health and Environment, Air Pollution Control Division. And I'm happy to report that the landfill is currently in compliance with all permit conditions. And actually, if you look at the details of that, in terms of the thresholds that are allowable regarding various kinds of emissions, in most of the categories, we're more than half below what the feds ask us to do. So I think that's a testament that we're trying to address emissions coming from the landfill. Item number 3, a revised building permit fee table 1D for wildfire hazard ignition zone inspections. We had this before the commissioners previously, but it looks like there was something that an error or a typo, and indeed, the essence of the revision is regarding Larimer County Sheriff's Office Emergency Services wildfire inspections on building permits regarding hazardous ignition zone inspections, and the increase will be to $150, not $100, as was listed. Number 4, conveyance of permanent easement from Robert R. Curtis to Larimer County, project number 337. This is regarding a road project. Items number 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are stipulations for tax year 2023. And as a reminder, a stipulation is an agreement between the petitioner or the property owner and the Board of Equalization in the assessor's office regarding an agreement on the adjusted value of one's property. Almost to the end here. Ordinances, that's why certain folks are in the audience. Second amended Larimer County ordinance for implementation and enforcement of short-term rental regulations. And again, this is the second amended ordinance. It's been published for the required 30 days, and now we're doing the final adoption. And again, this pertains to short-term rental regulations, and the ordinance pertains to enforcement of those regulations. Finally, resolution establishing compensation for Larimer County Captain Stacy Schaefer out at the jail, the detention center. And this has to establish, this is for the purpose of establishing her compensation between the our Human Resources Office and the Sheriff's Office. That is all. Colleagues, do either of you wish to remove something from the consent agenda? Nope. Therefore, I would welcome a motion to approve the consent agenda, and I believe you're on deck there, Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda for January 16th, 2024.
Thank you very much. That is a proper motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, folks who submit these consent agenda items. We'll now move on to commissioners' guests, and we have some folks from the Larimer County Rodeo Board, and I'm not sure who I'm turning that over to. I believe I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I have brought today some guests who I'm proud to be their board liaison. We have the Larimer County Rodeo Board members. I will have them introduce themselves, but they're here and they're going to have them come up. We have invited them here today. Many of them have served many years on this board. It's a special board. Our board has to have a PRCA rodeo title or something, so they'll explain all that, but they do work really hard, and they physically work hard during the rodeo by wrangling horses and goats and sheep and all kinds of things, but they are really a dedicated group, and we just celebrated 75 years with the Larimer County Rodeo, and they are here today because our rodeo, for the first time ever, won a best in class ever for the history of Larimer County, and I wanted them to be here today, get special recognition, and have them explain about this and some of the history. And thank you, gentlemen, for being here today. If you wouldn't mind introducing each and every one of you, and just know my heart for gratitude for the work that you've done. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. My name is Steve Heumann. I am chairman of the Rodeo Committee.
Rick Harris, I'm on the rodeo board.
And I'm Rain Brule, and I'm also on the rodeo board.
Yes, thank you again. We actually did win the Mountain State Circuit of the PRCA 2023 Medium Rodeo of the Year, which we're very, very proud of. And it is the first time, though we've won many awards over the years, this is the first time we've won this award. So thank you for recognizing us. We appreciate it.
Colleagues, do any of your colleagues wish to add any words of wisdom?
I'd just like to say Steve has been on the committee for 20 years. I've been on the committee for 17 and around the rodeo for about 40 years of it. My father-in-law was a huge part of it. And I can't tell you enough how much we appreciate you guys' support. And I think this year we've had the same prize money for quite a few years. And I've talked to Jody, and I have collaborated, and with her help, got us to raise our money. And I really honestly think that's what helped us win this. We have better contestants, a lot more of them, and it's going to just get better and better. And I want to really thank you a lot. It means a lot.
Thank you, Rick. Pat, would you like to share something, sir?
I just reiterate, thank you for your support. You know, this rodeo, I've been around my whole life. My dad was on this board for 28-ish years or so. So to come in his footsteps and keep this tradition alive, and just means a lot to me. It means a lot for your support, and just thank you all.
Thank you
just
kindly.
Look forward to putting on a great rodeo for the years to come.
Wonderful. And actually, in the spirit of explaining acronyms, there was an acronym used earlier, PRCA, and I'm hoping all three of you, perhaps in unison, could tell us what that. No, I was just kidding. But Steve, could you tell us what that acronym is, and of course, anything else you'd like to share, good sir?
Absolutely. It's the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. They are the professional rodeo contestants. We also host the Women's Professional Rodeo Association with our barrel racing, the WPRA, which we've gotten quite a few awards from them over the years as well. So that's what we do. And one last thing I want to say is that we are very honored to with your assistance and support to be able to put on this production as part of the fair every year. There's no way we could do it without you, especially your staff, including Connor, all his people at the ranch. They are amazing. It would take us, we'd have to have 50 people to do what we do instead of 4. And I will say Brandy Edmonds, our other board member, could not make it today. And the grounds crew out there and what they do with setting up the arenas, Christian Southwick especially, and bringing in the dirt. None of this would be possible without all of that help. So we just get to stand up here and get the glory. But you all have a lot to do with all of this happening and the magic of the Larimer County Fair and the rodeo being part of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I'd like to suggest that my fellow commissioners would probably like to offer some comments. I have a couple of quick comments, and then I suspect I would be more than remiss if we didn't pause and at least take a really photograph of that really cool plaque And I just regret that I didn't bring my cowboy hat, but oh well. So, Commissioner Stevens, would you like to offer some kind words for these
Sure,
folks?
I absolutely would. Thank you, Stephen, Rick, and Ray, for being here. Thanks for your work. You work really, really hard, and I know that it takes a lot to put this on, and I know it's in conjunction with ranch staff, but you are all volunteers, and we appreciate the many, many hours you dedicate to this. So thank you very much, and congratulations. That's awesome. I mean, I love the rodeo. I've loved it all the years, but I'm just glad we got acknowledged for being a great rodeo. So that's wonderful. Just wanted to share just a couple little things. First of all, I really liked the explanations, the little videos in the beginning. That was really helpful because, like, I can enjoy it on just the level of, wow, that looks amazing and that's such an incredible physical feat. But to really understand sort of how they're judged, how things are judged, and why maybe somebody gets disqualified or time added onto their score. That was really helpful for me as a sort of a novice person who doesn't understand a lot about rodeo. So I think that kind of added for. I mean, there's a lot of people there that clearly do understand all the rules, but I think for bringing new people in and getting people excited about it, I think that was a really great piece. And then just also, this was the first year I got to bring my mom, and she's 83, and she had a blast, and she loved the bobblehead so much that it broke at her house, and she was devastated. And I said, I think I have another one at my house that I can give you, but she glued it. It does not bobble anymore. But I mean, just to know that she was just thrilled to be there and she had so much fun. And so I think it's so much fun for just a variety of people. And thank you for bringing that excitement and that spectacle to our community. Really great work. And yeah, thanks. And I know you're already at it again to try to make this next one special. So we really appreciate your service. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Shadrach McNally.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You said you all you're just up there to take, you get the glory, but you guys deserve this. Is a well-deserved honor. You all have been a part of building this rodeo up and keeping the traditions alive and making it a fantastic presentation that is scheduled down to the second sometimes. And I want to just thank you all for welcoming me. I did attend many rodeos before I became commissioner, and I was looking forward to becoming the liaison to this, and you have welcomed me and taught me a lot, and also it's been just a great partnership, and I really appreciate you guys being honest and straightforward and seeing how we collaborate together to win this award. And I think this is a lot to do with the work that you guys have done. You guys have we talked with me, the Larimer, the Rodeo 101 videos that we talked about, they were phenomenal. That I think also contributes to helping others be engaged spectators. You guys literally get your boots dirty when every rodeo. You work so hard. You put a lot of time in. I appreciate you bringing up Brandy Evans and Christian Southwick. They're a very important part of the team, and all the team that wrangle all of the I forgot his gentleman that's been doing it for years too. The volunteer. His name.
Gene Olson.
Yeah, Gene also. Yeah, and he keeps all the volunteers, and you have volunteers that you train. You guys really put your heart self out there, and a little bit of harm's way when you have some of those wrangling some of those sheep. But it's really you guys should take a lot of credit for this, and Connor and his staff and the groups at Oakview Group that they partner with to help us get sponsors. And I had a lot of folks that just felt like they learned a lot this year, and it had a greater appreciation. I'm really proud of all of you and the work that you've done. I know we're already starting, and I think it's only going to get better. And just grateful just to be able to learn and be a part of this team with you and be the liaison, and just appreciate you guys just making it fun. And you also, I think the acts that you get are just so entertaining and fun and wholesome for our families. And as I understand, I think 2025, Rick, you said we have the best in class rodeo act coming for our 2025 rodeo. Is that true? You want to give a highlight for that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think who we've hired this year. This year, 2025, we have Bobby Kerr coming, which is a specialty act, which just won Act of the Year. We also have this next for 24. We have John Harrison. No, who do we have? Matt Merritt coming. He was elected. What was he? I'm trying to think of all of them. But in the next 2 years, we have the best of the best coming. We have the best barrel man in professional rodeo coming. We have the best specialty accidents. We hold it to a pretty high standard. We don't have a lot to pick from when we go out there. We have certain standards that we have to go by for the PRCA. When you go out there, it's kind of like going to for instance, the sportsman show, and you go to every booth and you ask them, what do you do and what do you do? Well, we've been fortunate enough to pick the best of the best, and that is a standard we've always held at Larimer County, and we want the best there to do it, and we've got him. We've got him, and Bobby Kerr you guys are going to really enjoy him. We've tried to get him for years and we couldn't, and we finally got it done. So I'm really excited about 25. So it's always good. The standards are there.
Wonderful. Again, just so proud. Congratulations and exciting. And thank you for also bringing Rodeo TV to come. Is it Rodeo TV? And we have in that our rodeos are now televised nationally. And so I think that's a big deal as well.
Yeah.
So this is all the work that you guys have all done, which is all volunteer. I mean, just kind of reiterate that for the public. This is all volunteer. And obviously your heart and souls are into this. And I can't thank you enough.
It's a legacy that I know Rain and I like to keep going, because his dad and my father-in-law was a big, big part of this. We just, celebrated our 75th year this year, which with you guys' help was a really huge, huge success. I thought it went over really well. And we just keep trying to bring the standards to the rodeo. Just like we said, Mrs. Stevens, we know we've got a group of people that come every year, the old veterans, but we know we got to get new people in there. And the Rodeo 101 is a huge, they need to understand it, and that's kind of what we're looking at to keep it going. So. And once again, thank you. We can't emphasize enough you guys' support. It's what it is. It's without you guys, we would not have a rodeo. We really appreciate it.
Well, and I'll just add quickly that much gratitude to you guys. It's a volunteer gig, and I think without all the volunteers that are involved in the fair and the rodeo, we couldn't pull this off. So much gratitude for your work. It looks like for many, many years. I guess you're into this. And I'll just add also that as a city slicker, I've often said that my two favorite events are barrel racing and the mutton busting. The bull riding is a bit of a stretch for me, but I it's okay, all of that. And next year in August, I will really work hard on getting the proper belt buckle and wearing. Maybe you guys can help me out with the proper hat, and I do have the boots. So looking forward to that. And finally, I just share a quick story. So I got to take my neighbors to one of the events, and I found out that our neighbors, a couple across the street on where we live here in town, turns out the gentleman was a big bull rider in South Dakota, and he loves rodeos, so it was really cool that we could all go together. And when we were there, I remember the lines were long, and I think it was a sold out evening. And there was a fellow there that he was a little bit distressed because he had never been to a rodeo. He's a veteran, military veteran, and it was all sold out. And he was, just really not happy about that or bummed about that. So I decided, well, let me see if there's a way. I was prepared to pay for it. If I went to the ticket counter, and to the credit of the ranch folks, they there weren't many seats, but they found one, and I was prepared to pay for it. Said, no, it's just take it. And then I ran back outside, and the guy was getting ready to head out, but I tracked him down. I gave him the ticket, and I think he was probably very happy. So I just thought I'd share that story.
Cool.
With that, we'll pause for a moment to do the photos, and I appreciate we have our proclamation to honor the life and legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and appreciate folks' patience. We'll get to that in a moment, but I reckon we need to take a picture with that lovely plaque. Thank you. Great. We will now move on to discussion items. We have one discussion item, and we just took a pause for a photograph and honor our volunteers with the rodeo board. And of course, we are more than in preparation for the upcoming fair and rodeo, I believe in August. I don't have the exact dates in front of me. So with that, we will now move on to a proclamation recognizing January 15th, 2024 as Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Larimer County. And Lori, you submitted this. Do you want to say any opening comments before I ask Commissioner Stevens to read the proclamation? And Lori? Oh,
No, sir. I was just wondering if we can invite some guests that I asked to receive the proclamation, if they could come up and we could have them at the podium so they could be up there while we're
yeah,
reading it. Would that be okay?
of course, yeah. Come on up if you
So may
guys
I
want to.
invite Marguerite and James Holland and their families to come on up to the podium and come listen to us as the proclamation as we're reading it, and come to receive it. We appreciate you driving all the way up with these dicey roads. So would you mind coming on up and bring everyone up? And we appreciate you coming today, very much so.
Oh, well, we certainly welcome our friends and colleagues. We appreciate very much that you're here. Um, I think the way we'll do this, Laura, you submitted this. Anything you want to say before we read the proclamation, and then we'll, give these folks an opportunity to share what they'd like to share, and then we'll offer our comments, and then I reckon we'll take a picture on this as well. Anything, Lori?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. I very much appreciate being able to speak to this proclamation in terms of the importance in our history. And as the commissioners know, from time to time, we offer proclamations to stress the importance of events within our nation. And this is certainly one of the highlights that we do annually. In addition to the proclamation, we also close the county offices in order for county staff to participate in various events to celebrate the life and legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. And so we really appreciate the work of the commissioners honoring that and the community that celebrates. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. And I think it's okay. I'm going to see if we can read the proclamation, and then if you folks want to offer your experiences, your insights, your comments, your wisdom, we would certainly welcome that, absolutely. And then I guess we'd have a chance to offer our thoughts as well. So, with that in mind, and now that you're all kind of on the spot standing up there, it's good to move around a bit. I'd like to ask, I think, is it your turn, Commissioner? Sure. If you would be kind enough to read the proclamation, and then we'll ask these folks if they wish to comment.
Yes, honored to. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is the proclamation of Martin Luther King Jr. Day for Larimer County, Colorado. Whereas our country's motto, E pluribus unum, out of many we are one, charges us to find common values among our varied experiences and to forge a national unity out of our extraordinary diversity. And whereas in 1963, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stood on the National Mall before hundreds of thousands who had gathered to march for freedom, justice, and equality, Dr. King shared his dream to inspire our nation to work for justice where there is injustice. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day not only pays tribute to a great man, but to the ideals he espoused to unite all people around the values of peace, justice, and unity. On Martin Luther King Day, we reflect on the legacy of a man who issued a call to the hearts and minds of our nation and our world. And whereas today people of all backgrounds continue that march, raising their voices to confront hate and discrimination, protect the right to vote, and support access to quality health care, housing, and education. We reflect on Dr. King's words to recognize that we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. He reminded us that we have a duty to uphold our founding ideals and work towards a more perfect union. Whereas these are values inherent to the safety, well-being, liberty, and happiness of everyone in our community, and they are essential elements of the dream we share for our future and our children's future. Now, therefore, be it resolved that January 15th, 2024 was Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Larimer County. In commemoration of the holiday, all county offices were closed in order that Larimer County could participate in upholding Dr. King's vision and encourages community members to participate in celebratory events, taking time to reflect on the accomplishments of Dr. King and observe this date with appropriate civic, community, and service projects in honor of Dr. King and the values he represents.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Did you want me to do the motion?
Yeah, why don't you do the motion? We won't vote on the motion at this time, and then if folks, looks like there's a wonderful family there. If you all want to introduce yourselves or comment, yes.
I move to approve the proclamation recognizing January 15th, 2024 as Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Thank you for offering the motion, and welcome. I wonder if anyone would like to introduce themselves and offer a few comments to help us with all of this.
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say thank you for having us.
Could you tell us your name, please?
My name is Margarita Holland.
Oh, welcome.
Thanks for having us. We're here with my family. This is Keyshawn. This is James Nye's son. Amaya Holland. This is our daughter. Here with my mother-in-law, Elaine Holland. And then obviously I'll let James introduce himself, but thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
My name is James Holland. First of all, I appreciate you guys having us here. She obviously introduced the family. But as far as Martin Luther King, you know, his what he's done in his lifetime as a direct result on how we're able to live today, especially the Black community. He was definitely for equality of everyone, that we can all work together, we can all look at each other as human beings instead of by the color of our skins. You know, unfortunately, we still have that in today's society, but it's nowhere near what it was back during the Civil Rights era. By his dream ended up being a reality for a lot of others, especially in the profession I'm at, you know, having a Black barbershop within, you know, in Loveland. I couldn't see that even being here if it wasn't for him, if it wasn't for what he did, or if he hadn't done any of the things he has done during his lifetime. So to continue to honor him every year and throughout the year is very important, to keep that vision alive, that idea alive, and not so much dwell on a lot of the things that occurred during the Civil Rights era. Is actually remember. That's the whole point of history,
so that way we don't make the same mistakes. We learn from the mistakes, people in the past have made, and we strive to make sure that those mistakes or atrocities in some cases don't happen going forward. I just feel honored just to be here, in relation to that, and to be able to really look at things with adult eyes, because when I was younger, I didn't look at life the way I do now. Especially in relation to Dr. King. And so when I look at my kids and looking at them being able to have a better opportunity going forward than what it might have been during my mom's era, it means a whole lot. And yeah, I appreciate it. So
Thank you very much, James. It looks like there are three generations represented here, and I don't know if folks from the other two generations want to add anything. I'm sure there's a lot of wonderful wisdom, but again, no, you don't have to, honestly. But if you want to, it would be more than welcome.
I wasn't expecting none of this. I was just coming for my support for my son and my family. But I'm glad that I was able to make it here today. And in spirit, my husband is here as well. And we're happy to be here. I'm thankful also for Martin Luther King and all the others that was before him and after him that has not been presented. We are all one human race. We all are going to take one day at a time, one moment at a time. And if we all do better each day, the better off we all are going to be. Because in reality, not a one of us is different than the other than the color of our skin. But everything that goes on with us and our bodies are absolutely the same. And if we do not get it together as human beings, we will never make it to heaven. So we must do the best we can do. Thank you.
Thank you kindly. Well said. Again, I don't really want to put the younger folks on the spot, but I bet you have some really awesome wisdom to share, maybe a sentence or two. And if not, it's totally cool. You guys want to pass? Oh, that's okay. That's fine. I just want to offer the opportunity. Thank you for sharing. I think well, I reckon we'll want to share something. So let's begin with Commissioner Shattuck McNally, who invited our guests from Loveland. Thank you for taking the drive up to Loveland. It's cold and the roads are the way they are. So thank you so much, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Um, Thank you, family. Thank you, Holland family. Thank you for touching my life and inspiring me. This Martin Luther King Day, I know, is special to you, your whole family for a lot of reasons, but it also celebrates the second anniversary of you opening, I think, Larimer County's only Black-owned barbershop in the region. And I remember when we first met was under some challenging circumstances, and you have persevered. And we enjoyed the festival last year for at the Thompson School District, and you came. And I just appreciate your engagement and how you have been so involved. You now not only opening and inspiring others in your craft and opening your barbershop to a lot of folks just to come in and learn and be a part of this community, you also now have engaged and joined some boards and commissions for the city of Loveland, and I'm hoping someday you'll consider Larimer County as well. But I just want to thank you for your engagement in the community and your uplifting message for a lot of youth, as well as the community that you're building here. And I'm so grateful that you live here in Larimer County. I wanted to, James, you posted a quote on social media that spoke to me, and I wanted to read that to you. I'm assuming this is your quote. Am I correct?
yeah.
And I, the messages and the uplifting things that you send out are I'm paying attention. I'm listening, and I really appreciate what you do. But today, you posted this. I even know what day it was. But you posted. You quoted yourself. Do today what others won't, so tomorrow you can do what others can't. And I think that you live that, and your whole family lives that every day in our community, and you're doing a lot to help lift others up. Margarita, I think you're involved with the Loveland Creative District, and I know you volunteered your time over the summer at some festivals. And I'm just really proud that you live in Larimer County, and I'm really proud to know you all. And I really appreciate you driving up today and being a part of this. And happy second anniversary for your wonderful business here in Larimer County and the work that you're doing. It certainly has been a pleasure to know you, and I just think our community is all the richer and better with all of you in it. So thank you so much, and just really appreciate you driving up today to receive this proclamation. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens, any thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, James, can you remind us of the name of your shop so we can make sure folks know about that?
Oh, Zach's Barbershop, and it's spelled Xaaks.
Okay, perfect. So we always want to support local businesses and want people to want to get your name out there. Just thank you all for being here. I know this is at least your second year of being here and making the trip, especially this morning under some pretty rough circumstances. There was some sliding in my car at least, so I really appreciate you coming out. And then Miss Elaine, thank you for your words. Do better every day. I think that's we all need to hear that message, and we all can do better, and we all need to remember to do better. And so that probably crystallizes Martin Luther King's message more than anything else, is that we all have to try to do better. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes, but we all need to work towards the justice that he wanted us to achieve in our country. And so thank you again for keeping the dream alive, for the work that you do, for keeping that message strong. And I'll just end with like this quote that if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. And so I think as a country, we need to keep moving forward. That we're going to stumble sometimes, but it's important for us to keep the dream alive and to keep working towards the work that of humanity. And so just really appreciate you being here to receive this proclamation. Thank you.
So I'll just, again, thank you folks for being here, taking the time, for sharing your words and your insights. Appreciate the business that you have down there in Loveland. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Certainly changed the world. I'm grateful that his philosophy of nonviolent social change, both a philosophy and put into practice, was instrumental in advancing a lot of good causes on behalf of all of us, regardless of the color of our skin. So I appreciate that very much. And yesterday in Fort Collins, I'm sure we'll speak about it more later, there was the Martin Luther King Jr. Program, and I wasn't there for the volunteer part in the morning. I'm grateful my commissioner colleagues were, but there was a really good opportunity to network or mingle with folks, and that was very nice because that's about building community. And I think one of the things that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talked about was the beloved community, and so I got to see some of that yesterday over at Lincoln Center. And then finally, I'll just say, before we vote on the motion and then take pictures, and that is the theme for yesterday in Fort Collins, at least, was it's on us. It's on us. And to me, that speaks to the individual responsibility that we have to continue to work towards, to not give up hope. Sometimes it's easy to do that, but to continue to work towards the beloved community. And so we have personal responsibility, and I believe we also have some collective responsibility to move in that direction, to keep moving in that direction. So I'm glad that I was able to participate and hear the spoken word and all the different things that were shared yesterday. So with that,
Mr.
we,
Chair,
uh, yes,
if I might, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I forgot. I just wanted to comment on. I was so grateful for this family. I didn't get a comment on Dr. Martin Luther King. If I could have just make 2 sentences, sir.
uh, yes, of course.
Thank you. Thank you for commenting on the theme from, I think it starts with us, but also Loveland had captured the dream. And I was going to make this quote yesterday or last night that I didn't get to, as Dr. King's work continues to inspire me to endeavor for we the people to preserve, to pursue and strive to become a more perfect union. Every day as your commissioner, I really endeavor to strive to capture this dream by following the example of how ordinary people can have a great impacts in their community. And I hope that we all strive for a vision of the world without discrimination and racism, and inspire people to become the best version of themselves, as I will strive to do every day. And I hope we all strive to accept others for who they are and remind people to show respect and seek peace. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. So with that, there is a motion on the table to approve the proclamation that we just shared. Any further discussion, colleagues? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. At this time, we'll pause for a moment, and if you folks are okay with it, I have these cool proclamations here. We'll take a photo, and you get to have one if you'd like. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We now move on to the next item on our agenda, which I believe is the county manager update. Lori Kadrich, I believe that's you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I would just say that last week we had a week of meeting with our county leaders. So we met with the Strategic Leadership Committee, with the department heads, and with a group that we call our core leaders, which is the service area directors. So it was a week that was really filled with strategic planning and policy level work on behalf of county operations.
Oh, is that all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we now move on to the next item on our agenda, which is our commissioner activity report. Let's see. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, you're on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you for letting me add a couple sentences at the end of that. I just want to make sure I wanted to give proper honor and recognition to Martin Luther King Day. I just wanted to share, last week we had our Behavioral Health Policy Council meeting. I was re-elected chair of that policy council meeting, and now we have Seth Forwood was elected vice chair, and we had a great conversation about the Master Plan 2.0, which I think we have a work session coming up on that, and I just wanted to share that with you. We also had I had my leveraging resources committee meeting for the Colorado Forest Health Council, and certainly interesting to see. We looked at how other states are doing some of the work that they're doing, which is way different than Colorado, but they don't have Colorado water law like we do. So I think always have to kind of take that into consideration. And then I attended, I think, along with my colleague Commissioner Stevens and many other electeds, a presentation by Moms Demand Action at a church in Fort Collins, and I appreciate Miss Mack for inviting us. It was a great conversation, and we got to listen to a lot of people's concerns about the safety of our community, especially for our kids. I appreciate the chance to kind of listen into the South Basin Roundtable. That group came up along with our Leveraging Resources Committee for the Forest Health Council about helping them, kind of connecting with them and talk about some of the work that we're all doing with that. And so I wanted to kind of tie those together. Have been having some meetings with Chief Sendelbeck regarding some of the things happening with the Loveland Fire Rescue Authority, and they're going to, with the mill levy that passed in the rural part but not in the city part, they'll be adding a couple extra new positions, and they are doing a very interesting and important pilot work with their providing workforce housing and scholar paid internships for some folks through CSU and Fort Range Community College, and I look forward to sharing that about that at our retreat. So I appreciate that time. Let's see. We Thursday we had our Larimer County Interagency group meeting as we look forward to the budget. There has been and the work that is being asked of that committee. As you know, it's a Larimer County Interagency obviously group. It focuses on keeping kids who are needing services that are involved with some of the criminal justice and other systems home or with kin, and there is an increased need and acuity, and so there is some concerns about the long-term projections for budget and how that looks. We had our Office on Aging Advisory Council meeting. They're getting ready to do their site visits for the grantees, and they were doing a lot of preparation work with that. So that was appreciate everyone's time and service on that board. I attended the Loveland Fire Rescue Authority badge pinning ceremony, which is full of tradition and honor and service, and a lot of folks received their badges and graduated from the academy, and also moved up in promotions. And I really appreciate the invitation and thank all the board members for their service on that. Also attended the Overland Mountain Bike Association celebration. They are super thrilled and excited about the new trail that was opened up in Horsetooth. They gave it lots of praises and very thankful and appreciative of the relationship between Larimer County and especially with our Department of Natural Resources, and they had lots of positive things to say. Certainly they're looking to continue that, and also celebrated that they got a $200,000 grant through the U.S. Forest Service in a partnership that they'll be working on some trails or work through on the U.S. Forest Service land. So I appreciate the invitation, and they did give a lot of nice comments to Larimer County, and I wanted to thank them for that. Friday, we had our legislative committee for the Forest Health Council, and we are still wrangling with the thoughts of biomass and how we wrangle that big topic and what it looks like and what it means and what the science says and what it doesn't say. And And if there is one fix, I'm not sure there is. And so we had some experts come and talk. And then we had a legislative update. One of the bills that we had a recommendation that came actually from an idea I had about our slash pile days and working on getting the statewide slash pile days is going forward, and that will probably be introduced. Actually, I think it is introduced, and there'll be next week I'll be testifying on behalf of that bill. And so that was a really important meeting, and we'll be our Full Force Health Council will be at the Water Congress at the end of the month, and I will be speaking at the morning forum, which is about droughts and disasters and wildfire, and so I look forward to that opportunity. We also had between the Colorado Fire Commission and the Colorado Forest Health Council, we have a joint subcommittee, and it was a prescribed fire subcommittee, and we had a presentation again from Director Morgan, and Director Gibbs was able to come, but we presented on the National Fire Wildfire Mitigation and commission that has those 147 recommendations that I have mentioned before, and Director Morgan kind of walked us through some things that were really important. We also had our Commissioners Step Club. I know Commissioner Kapalis and I always enjoy that. It was great to be with all the employees and have a nice little soup and salad and celebrate their work and their commitment to getting their steps in. I was trying to get some steps in yesterday with the cold, so I ended up going in and out from the fire pile and up and down the stairs trying to get time in. It was too cold to try to go outside or hike, but so I appreciate all the employees, and it was a lot of fun to hang out and be involved with them. And then on Saturday, I attended the legislator town hall. It was great to hear from our legislators. There was a lot of us in attendance, and it was over 60 people, considering how cold it was, at the Pooter Ready Center at the Foothills Mall, and it was a really engaged and big group. Housing was the hot, controversial topic to talk about, and I appreciate everyone's time. And then I ran over to the Big Thunder Draft Horse Show and toured around the back, behind the scenes, got to talk with the horses and hang out with some of the horses, see some of those collars. I bought a big, huge horseshoe that's just the biggest horseshoe I've ever seen, from a horse that's over 6 feet tall, 18.2 hands. His name is Big Thunder or something, and then we had a lot of sponsorships and teams from around, like Evans and Eaton and Berthoud, and it was really a fantastic show. I am just so impressed at the work that goes into getting those horses ready for the wagon. They had the individual, the 2, and then the 6 horse hitch, and then they did 8. I left before the 8 because I was wanting to get home before it got too cold and icy. But the ranch staff did a phenomenal job. It was almost sold out. It was, considering how cold it was. The barns were warm, and the horses were in great deal. And we had a lot of praise for our staff and our facility, because that indoor warm-up arena is now closed in and has the roof over it. It was one of the improvements to that air part of the ranch, and I can tell you everyone just was thrilled with that. It was really helped with the show, being able to light up those big wagons and that many horses chained up, and just kudos to Mark and Tinkleberg and Connor McGrath, all the ranch staff and all the folks, and to G, who gave me a tour around the back of the barns. I just really appreciate the hospitality, and I love draft horses. They're just gentle giants, and I was just so impressed with all of the pomps and circumstance. Those folks literally love the horses. And then it was just really an honor and privilege to be invited to be a part of the day of service, as we packed hygiene packs and volunteered at the MLK Day. And I appreciate the BIPOC Alliance, CSU, City of Fort Collins, Pooter School District, Front Range Community College, and Larimer County for all the sponsorship and the organization. I know it wasn't what they hoped, but we packed a lot of stuff for Homeward Alliance, and I guess last year was their largest ever donation given to Homeward Alliance of that kind of group, and it just it connected with a lot of folks. Just really appreciate the opportunity to have to connect with folks and to network and talk with, and just really a special day. And even despite the weather, getting to be of service and to reflect on Dr. Martin Luther King and with our community about how we all can do better, and that it does start with us. I just really am truly grateful. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, Mr. Chair. So on Wednesday, I attended the BizWest's economic forecast for the year. Dr. Richard Wobblekind from the Associate Dean of the CU Boulder's Lead School of Business gave the keynote speech and was largely good news. Some mixed news, but inflation is trending downward. There likely will not be a recession. If it will be very mild. GDP is strong. Salaries and employment are up. So it was a pretty good economic forecast, which is not bad. I think there are some the only causes of concern that he talked about were, the federal debt and some issues at the federal level, but otherwise, it looks like it's a pretty sunny outlook, which is not bad. On Thursday, we had the Highway 34 Coalition. We are creating a TMO, which is a transportation management organization on that corridor, and we have chosen a consultant to help us with the project, help us steer us through the project, and they're named STEER, S-T-E. I'm assuming that's an acronym, but they will be coming out to talk to us about, what we can do on that corridor with regard to transportation, especially transit. And so looking forward to working with Steer and getting, that corridor can be very congested. It can be very fast paced. There's a lot of accidents. So we're really looking forward to working with them. We also had the North Front Range MPO meeting, Metropolitan Planning Organization meeting that same night. There wasn't a lot of new business at that meeting. On Friday, I attended the Mountain Rail meeting. I attended virtually because it was in Winter Park, and it didn't seem advisable to drive up to Winter Park. But just suffice it to say that they are working on rail to both Hayden and Steamboat Springs. This was a route that usually took coal cars and now is not taking very many coal cars at all. And as they work with these just transition communities, they are trying to figure out ways to use the rail for passengers and to get people up to that neck of the woods to ski and to recreate. So I think that it's just a piece of what we're trying to do with Front Range Passenger Rail. And so wanted to be at that meeting to support those efforts as well. We also had our CCAT housing and fiscal reform meeting. I attended for a bit. We talked a lot about transit-oriented communities, and so that's one of the pieces from the land use bill that was pulled out as a separate talking point. So we have not decided on CCAT whether we're supporting that, but it's something that we can discuss together as a board and also with our CCAT colleagues. And then finally, Martin Luther King Day. Did want to reiterate the thanks to the BIPOC Alliance and CSU and the City of Fort Collins for a great event. I was there for the Martin Luther King Day Day of Service, and we did pack a lot of hygiene kits and sorted clothing and food for people at Homeward Alliance in the Murphy Center. And then I loaded up my car with food and hygiene kits and ran over to Murphy Center to deliver those items. And I will say they were much appreciated by the people there. Many people know that the Murphy Center stayed open 24 not 24 hours. They stayed open as a day shelter for the past few days because of the extreme cold. So a lot of the other shelters are just not able to function as day shelters. And so Murphy Center does have the space to be able to do that. So we thank all the staff there that were there taking care of folks and keeping them warm and fed. There was a busload of folks coming in as I was there. So there were a lot of people that were taking advantage of the ability to stay warm and out of the cold. And the bus even dropped off right in front of the Murphy Center. So, we're just grateful for the people in our community that do the heavy lifting and on a holiday weekend that they spent their weekend taking care of others. So that's in the spirit of Martin Luther King, and we appreciate all our nonprofits in our community who take care of people. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just share a couple of things. So last week I attended the Environmental and Science Advisory Board. I'm a liaison to that board. And some of the takeaways, when we received an update on our water master plan. Also, there was a good discussion regarding the role of boards and commissions as it pertains to 1041 permit applications. We'll be seeing some of those this year and most likely next year. So I think that was really important. And also discussion on the 2024 work plan for that particular Environmental and Science Advisory Board. On Wednesday, I attended the Workforce Development Board. I serve as the liaison there. That was in the morning. And the keynote presenter was an economist who highlighted, and I have the slide presentation if anyone's interested, highlighted the recent report, the Talent Pipeline Workforce report, and it has a lot of really good information regarding occupations that are in demand and training opportunities and all the rest. Also, the Ag Advisory Board met on Wednesday. We also received an update on the Water Master Plan discussion about 1041 permit application participation processes. We'll continue to get more clarification. I would mention regarding 1041, I believe it's February 14th. It's a Wednesday night. That's when we'll have a joint work session with the Planning Commission, and one of the topics will be a refresher on our 1041 regulations and the various review criteria. So I wanted to make sure folks knew about that. So good meeting with the Ag Advisory Board. We also talked about the 2024 work plan and trying to figure out the role of extension, natural resources, and planning in terms of our goals to help preserve working farms and ranches. One of the things, the information items that I think is important to share is our fairly new 6 months perhaps extension agent, Ag Natural Resources Extension Agent. She's been out in the field a lot, building relationships, which is really important. But one of the things she's helped organize is a workshop. It's called Grants and Grow, grants and funding opportunities to help grow your farm, ranch, production, and business. This will take place, I believe, on February 2nd. It's an all-day event at the ranch, and it will talk about grant seeking, NRCS, Natural Resources Conservation Service, funding, and a variety of other topics. And I think the intent, of course, is to help producers better understand the grant writing process and what opportunities might be out there to help supplement their revenue, their income from growing food for us. Let's see. There was reference to the luncheon on Friday at Club Tico, the STEP challenge, the Commissioner's Challenge. I believe the one who was always in first place happens to be in the land stewardship area of the Department of Natural Resources. And my goal is to get closer to that person, but I don't think I can ever surpass that person unless the DNR folks deploy me out in the field to walk amongst the grasses and the trees and the flowers. But that was a really fun event. I'm grateful for that. I suppose the last couple of things I'll mention, we did have our LaPorte community conversation. It was on Saturday morning. I hadn't canceled. It was pretty cold. I felt obligated to go in case anybody showed up. Our guest was the clerk and recorder, Tina Harris, and to her credit, I said, it's your call if you want to. I'm not sure how many folks will show up. But in the end, we have a very engaged community, and the more opportunities for that, I think the better. We had about 18 folks there, and the focus was on the elections for 2024. I suspect everyone knows that this is a very important election year. So that was a good conversation, and I thought Tina Harris, our clerk and recorder, did an excellent job. And in the evening, I attended the 19th annual Now it's called Youth for Change at Plymouth Congregational Church. They typically have done this. They used to do sleep outs. They would build these cardboard boxes and sleep outside to basically try and better understand the plight of people who are experiencing homelessness. And this year they didn't go outside, which is probably a good thing. And it was inside. They had 150 people show up who registered. It's a big fundraiser for homeless prevention. There used to be something called the Homeless Prevention Initiative, and Neighbor to Neighbor took over that responsibility. So they raise a whole bunch of money. They do a lot of awareness. It's called Youth for Change, and they asked me to participate. And there were lots of different organizations there. So it was a really good event, and I'm sure they raised a pile of money, which is helpful. And then, of course, Martin Luther King Day. Glad we all had the opportunity to participate one way or the other. And here we are on Tuesday. That is all that I have to share. Thanks for listening. We now have legal matters. And according to the agenda, we will move into legal matters in a moment with the proper motion. No decision is expected, and therefore we will not be returning. So, with that in mind, I will ask Commissioner Shattuck McNally if you would be kind enough to offer the motion to move us into executive session.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. I move the Larimer County Board of Commissioners move into executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 24-6-402, subsection 4, A, for the purchase, acquisition, lease, transfer, sale of any real or personal property interest, and B, conference with an attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions, and E, I think that is 1, determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators.
Thanks, Commissioner. That is a proper motion. Any further discussion, colleagues? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. At 10:42 a.m., we will now go into executive session. As was mentioned, no decision is expected, so we will not be returning. We wish you all a good day and look forward to warmer weather. Thanks.